So back to talking about BTS and Dynamite with their full English song.
Yeah. I mean,
did you like it immediately?
I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't thrilled.
Once you heard the news?
I think Dynamite's that song's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Of those songs, I thought Butter was the best.
Yeah.
To me, that's just like the best pop song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the direction changed. And I think they opened the door for a lot of, now all of these K-pop releases, English.
You can just tell
English.
it sounds very American pop.
And generic.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me. Like, don't water down your product.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't water down the product. And it felt very much. I mean, I think on Butter they had like 23 songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, come on, guys.
I mean, like, and the thing was, I'm not saying this to like shade any of like the armies, because I'm an army myself.
Yeah,
but
same.
as someone who is knowledgeable of like both the front end and the back end of the industry, once I knew they entered the American music market, I knew what that meant.
Same.
And then
Same.
I just couldn't say what it meant to people because I knew no one was gonna like that.
Yeah.
And it was painful to just see it reach the point where BTS actually said it themselves, and then everyone was like, "Oh,
Yep.
okay."
Well, and I felt like the concerts changed, and maybe that's post-pandemic. It brought in a whole new audience.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going to concerts and doing fan chants.
Yeah.
Like everyone was obsessed with the group, and you were like surrounded by real fans. Now there's been a shift in K-pop concerts where a lot of people go to every K-pop concert that comes to town, and they don't know the words to any of the songs. There's no more fan chants, and I'm like, what is happening?
You know what I hate about the concert scene too is that everyone tries to buy out every concert.
Exactly.
And they just resell.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean,
Exactly.
but I mean, you know what? Yeah, it's the money. It's like they get so much like pride with that, but it's like for me, like I couldn't see Stray Kids the last concert because tickets were sold out.
Expensive.
And then I know so many people, like I'm not gonna name them, but I know so many people on like, you know, X or Instagram where they're like, I'm gonna see them 3 times in LA, 4 times in Chicago. I'm gonna go to this thing. And
Well,
I'm
then
like,
that's not even like their alt group.
Yeah.
They're like, but my alt group's in Hypen. I'm like, why are you taking
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that's changed in K-pop for me the past couple years where I'm like, wow, it's amazing the fans want to go to every concert, spend all that money. But for the pre-pandemic K-pop fans, it's a little sad.
When you mentioned like the fan chants, I remember every single time I tried to go to a K-pop concert, I'm like, oh, I know they have fan chants. And then, because I know in Korean concerts, like in Korea itself, like they have the fan chants, and so I'll learn it, and then I'll go to the concert, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, no one's doing it. I mean, I'm not saying that they should, but then it's kind of like I feel like they would have wanted to hear that a little bit.
Yeah, like, I remember Prudential Center 2018 BTS. We did the BTS fan chants.
oh my God, no, 2017. The center in LA, we did it.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Not anymore. And you had like your army bomb. And, you know,
but
it's a different deal.
It's just sad that people are doing it like as a cash grab. But it's like, here are these benefits, and it's like what a business card size picture.
You know what I hate also is when they resell the tickets.
Oh, I'm
thinking like, oh, like all these people, but okay, give or take, some people will buy those tickets. But I mean,
I've bought a lot of resale tickets because it's like Ticketmaster. It's impossible. I'm always in that like 2,000 not moving line,
and then it's like, oh, tickets are
these tickets sold out. Sorry. So I've done the resale more than others.
There's also, I don't know if you guys have heard it, apart from like overselling or like reselling, they will only open the capacity to like a certain amount just so they could give away tickets to like celebrities,
of course,
or whatever. And then I'm like, I mean, I guess it's nice that you want people to come to these shows, but it's sad because you should know that there's fans like us out there who are willing to pay like the decent price for these shows. But then like obviously it's like sometimes you're reducing half of it. Yeah,
they're so expensive now. I actually don't collect that much merch compared to a lot of K-pop fans. Yeah, because I spend all my money on concert tickets.
Exactly,
they're not like $100. I'm embarrassed to tell people what I spend on the tickets.
Well, I mean, don't some of these celebrities or like idols themselves say like don't buy all this random stuff?
Yeah, sometimes they say it though, but it never really happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't really stop the fandom from doing what they do best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, going off topic, I just remember 2019 was the year I went to all these concerts, and the one thing I missed were the high touch and the talking to the artists, and I was just like, it was like crazy.
And then they were like standing behind glass.
Yeah. Now they're standing
you walk
behind
by and
glass,
go
you
like
walk
this?
by, and like people are like rushing you to move.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I couldn't even make eye contact
Yeah,
with
so
that next
awkward.
person.
I thankfully didn't experience the whole glass thing because I didn't want to. Because
Yeah,
I didn't want it
I'm
to
the
feel
same
like
way.
it feels like they're like in an aquarium.
Totally. It's like
Yeah.
zoo animals and we're all walking by waving at them. It just
Yeah.
feels a little bit awkward.
And they just go like, hi.
And, yeah.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? The last concert I went to before the pandemic was like happening was the Stray Kids concert.
Oh.
But we were the last concert that we didn't have to wear
The face masks.
No,
and stuff?
we had to wear face
Oh, you
masks.
did?
But my friend who went to the concert after was like, I hate you guys. You guys got to do high touch. We had to do
Oh,
high
yeah.
elbows.
High
because-
elbows.
Because COVID was spreading and the boys
I
like
remember that because I remember
sick.
when they were in New York, and I wasn't a fan of Stray Kids at the time. So my last K-pop, I went to Super M at Madison Square Garden.
That was the Super M was the one group that I wish I watched in
I
person
saw.
before they dissolved.
I'm telling you, it was.
Oh my God,
I'm the
stop.
biggest fan. And then I saw like J Park. I think like in
Yeah.
February, right before the pandemic. Yeah.
But then I feel like because more and more artists are coming to concerts here in the US, you would think it'd be easier to see them, but I think it's getting harder to see
You
them.
know, LA is probably one of the hardest because you know
It is.
I don't know if you like notice it, but even the boys, like any K-pop idol that
Yeah.
comes here, their
Yeah.
energy goes from down here to up here, like
Yeah.
crazy. Like I've seen like 17 concerts where I'm just like, wow, they really like.
Well, I think LA is like the epicenter for K-pop in the United States. It
Yeah.
really is. You know, like I moved here from New York City. New York's great, but New York doesn't have the population that's really supporting K-pop in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's here. So here, they're always going to sell out. Like, and I've noticed a lot of groups that are doing smaller venues do bigger venues here. The Rose is doing the Forum.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
doing smaller venues, I think pretty much everywhere else. So it's just a different thing. It's a blessing and a curse. We get everyone coming to town.
Yeah.
But you're going to pay premium for those tickets.
Yeah.
And I feel like the more like the bigger and like the bigger and bigger groups kind of want to do more shows. Like for example, Blackpink, like they had their encore and then they did, was it at the Dodger Stadium
Yeah.
here in
Blackpink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they had it in SF.
Yeah.
Did they do it in Vegas? I think they
I think
did,
they
in,
did in
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah. And then I was like, they're coming for like, it's the same tour, but they're having like
Yeah.
three seasons of it just because so many people want to watch them. And I still didn't get to watch them.
I didn't go to that one either. The tickets were just so expensive.
Too
You have to
expensive.
budget at some
Yeah.
point. It's like,
But it doesn't help that, like, let's say this month you'll see this group, and every single month after that, you already have like a schedule
Oh.
for concerts, and you're
And
like,
then-
where do I put my money?
Yeah.
And then all these albums are coming out,
Yeah.
and you're like, how many am I gonna buy? Because I am an album kind of person,
Okay,
and
okay.
I used to do photo cards, but
It's
like
a
what we
lucrative
were-
business.
Like what we were talking about earlier, like you know, like the fandoms, they're
Mm-hmm.
so crazy. Like they'll sell cards for like $50, $100,
Oh, yeah.
$200, like
Oh my
just
God,
for
yeah.
one piece of card. So I kind of stopped doing that because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I need to stop.
It's too expensive.
Spending so much, and I don't know who it was, but they were just like, "Oh, why don't you just print your cards?"
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? You told me.
Oh, it was V8 from 17.
oh, yeah, he's great.
Because when he goes on lives, people, I feel like with any artist, every time they go live, the fans will always be like, I spent so much this money
Yeah.
on your photo card, and then they'll go, why? And they're like, if you
Yeah.
want it that bad, just print it. I'm like, I mean, if you told me, I'm gonna just do it then. You know, I'm
Photo
gonna just do
cards
it.
are a whole thing I wasn't that familiar with because I just literally buy the albums, I open it up, I look, I close it, I put it
Yeah.
away. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Sometimes I have a photo card in the back of my phone. I have a lot like on my refrigerator. My really good friend Meg, she was on the first episode of my new podcast, and we did a whole photo card segment.
Yeah.
and she really walked me through how it goes.
No, and there's like tier levels.
Yeah.
There's like the lucky draws.
The number
There's the
of-
pre-order
Yes,
benefits.
yes. And like if they're holding something, that's
Yeah.
way better. There's just so much I had no clue on. But the number of albums fans buy, the amount of money being spent.
Hey,
for
but
these
that's
little
my
cards.
that's my girl math though. Because recently my girl math is if you buy an album with like 4 cards, there's more of a chance of getting that card, but you can
True.
essentially trade it later.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so like
Sure.
at some point I went so crazy for Stray Kids that I had 4 biases and I had all of their cards, every album card.
I actually love that.
And I was just here, and like I have their signed albums, but like I kind of had to stop because that was too much.
No, it's too much money. It's so funny
Yeah.
because everyone's trying to get me into it. They're like, Emily, I've got a Hyunjin card for you, and I'm like, no, I don't need to do this. I really
like,
need to
don't-
budget for concert tickets.
But like there, I don't know if you guys have seen it on TikTok, because you know how obviously people, since you mentioned people buy so much because they want to get these specific
Yeah.
cards. This is like random and kind of like off topic, but to anyone who collects photo cards out there, I saw this video where it's like a tip. If you're buying in person, this works better if you're in the store. Look at like the serial number on the tags, because if the serial number is like, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if the 3 albums that you're buying start with those, it's identical.
Yeah.
You'll get the same
So you're
thing.
getting the
So,
same cards.
so you want to try to get like different numbered
makes
serial
sense.
numbers, so you have like a higher chance of actually getting the card that you want. But
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
it's a good tip, but I'm not recommending to do that because that means you're going to spend more money. But you know,
Yeah,
do
or
with that knowledge what you will.
Yeah, or even if like let's say 17, I forgot what album. I think it was Semicolon. Every binding was different, and then you
Yeah.
can see a piece of like you can see their hair on the top, and you compare it to like the preview.
Interesting.
And I was like, me and my
Yeah.
sister went to the store. We were looking. We were like, okay, I have Hoshi, and she's like, okay, I have.
Interesting.
You
I
can't even
have
do that anymore. They make it
S-
impossible for you to be
Yeah.
able to see inside.
It's so funny though. Like the links we go to, this is like a different language for people that aren't K-pop fans.
No, but it's sad because every time we go to Target, I would always see like one album that has like a
ripped
rip,
open.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, people are so ratchet.
Yeah. Photo cards are a whole industry. Like
Yeah.
it's a whole deal.
Just don't get what do you call this? What's the word? Don't get fooled. Some people like sell fake ones for a really high price, and then some people will buy it just because they really, really, really want the card.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't do that. I just don't recommend it. It's not
But
worth
I
it.
mean, while on the topic of K-pop, who are your olds? Whether girl group, boy group.
My alt groups:
Yeah.
Stray Kids, Monsta X, NCT 127, EXO. I love Pentagon. I feel like Pentagon's so slept on, and their music is so good, and they're like
Yeah.
a self-produced group. But I'm not sure if we're going to see that much more of them. Like 5 of them just left Cube Entertainment. They're
Yeah.
on Cube, which has some issues.
Yeah.
My alt of alt bias is Hyunjin from Stray Kids.
Yeah, I love that.
Hyunjin
love
is
that.
my number one. Hyungwon from Monsta X. I love Taeyong. Everything Taeyong does, I'm obsessed with him. Baekhyun from EXO.
Of course.
Jungkook was my first bias ever, so I'll always love him. But I did switch to Tae. I was like disloyal in my BTS
For a little bit,
fandom.
for like a little
And I
bit.
feel like if you like Jungkook, you'll eventually like Tae.
Yeah, actually, that's
Like,
interesting.
It's like you gradually move.
Yeah.
It's like it's a slow, gradual
A
move,
slow
but
process.
you'll notice later.
You know what
on.
it was? It was 2019, the stadium tour, when Tae did Singularity.
Oh, yes. You're like, hold on.
Yeah.
What is happening on that bed? Wait a minute. Everything changed for me then. So now
Yeah.
I kind of go back and forth.
Yeah.
But those are like my favorite groups. I definitely am more of a boy group stan.
Yeah.
But I think what's happened with the girl groups in the past couple years is exciting. The
Yeah.
sound, I really like.
They're
a
getting
lot.
more playful with it now. I
Yeah.
feel like that's why a lot more people in the beginning, like you mentioned, you're more of a boy group fan because they played more. They were more playful with sounds for boy groups than they are with girl groups. Because I think even before when K-pop was becoming popular, girl groups mainly did like the cute
Yeah.
Yes.
concept, which is nothing
Very
wrong with
cute,
that.
yeah.
But like
Like Pretty
even
Girl
even the
posing,
artists themselves,
yeah.
they're like reaching past 25 and they're like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
How about you? Who's your
Me?
olds?
My ultimate group is 17.
Okay.
I'm biased to 17, so I mean I'm an ultimate
Hardcore.
hardcore. I mean I listen to everyone, but like 17 will always have like that special place in my
good.
heart. And then just because of like their work ethic, I
Okay.
think that's the one thing.
Okay.
But my biases are Wonu and Mingyu.
Okay.
But then Mr. S Groups is kind of like
Mr. S.
yeah. But he's on a break right now, so it's okay.
I know.
I'm doing fine.
But I
yeah.
like that he is in the music video. They're still including
the phone,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
poor Oscar.
And then how about you, Miss Sarah Michelle?
I mean, I can say that I have 2 old
Two.
groups, which is, I mean, if you look at my collection, it's literally Stray Kids and
Yeah.
GOT7. So I'm like low key a JYP.
Yeah,
artist
JYP
stan. A JYP artist stan.
Uh-huh.
But because like like if I were to name it all, it's like everyone. Like I like Day 6. I like
Yeah.
Twice. I like
Yeah.
all of them. So
Do you like Extraordinary Heroes?
I'm getting there. I heard like I haven't really like given the time to like kind of listen to it, but I heard it like when it played randomly, and I was like, huh.
They're more of like the band type of group,
Yeah,
kind of like
they're
how
like a hard
AOA
rock
started.
band.
But then that was like Day6.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think they dance.
they.
Compared
Yeah, I think they
to
dance a little
Day6.
more than Day6.
No, Extraordinary Heroes
No?
are a rock band.
No, yeah, I know they're strictly band.
Like they're band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what about your biases though?
In GOT7, it was Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay. Oh.
I think because I'm a dancer at heart.
Okay.
So
okay.
I always like the dancers.
Okay.
And then it kind of switched when I like Stray Kids, but I'm kind of like an OT8 kind
Got
of
it.
fan, but like in the beginning it was like Ian and Han.
Okay.
And then eventually as they kind of progressed in their lives, it changed.
She has someone else as her screensaver on our phone right now.
Who is
I
it?
do. It's Chan. But
Chan?
But he's not like.
You guys, it's hard not to bias him though. He was my first bias in Stray Kids.
But that's what I liked about Stray Kids is like they're all so different that you can't just like one person. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's someone you feel like you relate to. At a
Yeah.
specific moment, you might be like, oh, I'm really into him now, like that vibe or this.
Yeah.
But then this guy over here,
Yeah.
they offer something really unique and different. I'm always excited to meet a fellow Stay. But congratulations on the 17 comeback.
Oh, yeah, of
I've been
course.
listening to that nonstop the past 24
I
hours.
may have spent a little too much money.
I was supposed
Like
to
the
buy
past
some
week.
albums for this.
We went to Target, but I
it's
forget that
not-
it's out.
It's out on Fridays. Usually it comes out the day after.
Yeah.
But for some reason it comes out on Friday. So I was sitting there. I was like,
That's hard too, though, with the distribution. It's like who they have distribution deals with the U.S. labels. Some stuff, I'll get it delivered the day it comes out from like
Yeah.
Amazon. Other albums, like the recent NCT 127, wasn't available anywhere. It's like, oh, there's still those issues. So it hasn't become like totally Americanized yet because we still have to like buy albums from Korea sometimes.
No, but I forgot. I just realized now. I don't know if you've heard because we spoke about photo cards. There's like a lawsuit going on with like companies. I
yeah.
forgot who it started with, where it was like companies. I think it started with maybe Hybe, I think, or maybe SM, where they're kind of getting investigated because with all these album versions, so many album versions. According to like law, I guess, or something, it's kind of like against consumer rights or something, where they're kind of fooling these fans, where it's like, oh, if you buy this, you'll get this, but you really won't get
It's
that.
like, it's exploiting the fans.
Yeah.
I think that's like the hard part about K-pop fandom
Yeah.
because I love K-pop. I love this industry so much. But a lot of it, when I was talking to my friend about photo cards and how many albums her and her group orders and everyone else, I'm like, that's insane.
Is she an admin?
No, but she's in
Oh,
a
okay.
few.
you know,
really
I had a
good-
friend who was an admin, and
I
was
wouldn't
like,
even
you
wanna
are
know how to do that.
crazy. I like cannot. Like,
the amount of
'cause-
work, but then also when she told me like the last Stray Kids album, there were 60 different Han cards she had to get because each store in Korea had a different one.
Yeah. Sometimes one store will have like 6 to 10.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And that's just one store. So you're buying that many? No shade. Like, I get collecting things, but I do think they're exploiting the fans.
The thing that you have to realize though, it's like money isn't like a toy. Like a lot of these admins, you have to have a big budget for it.
Well, yeah.
Because not a lot of people pay on time. Like when they do group orders.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
I don't think I can do. I personally,
like,
I
even
can't
It's
do
too
that.
stressful.
like even buying like from like Korea, like or even like let's say the JYP store, and like they have a
Yeah.
signed album. The
Yeah.
album will go from $30 to like $70 with
Yep.
shipping, and I'm like, excuse me, like I cannot afford that.
I know.
I can't do it either.
I know. And then you don't even know who you're getting.
Yeah.
Also with signed albums, so I just got like T by T's signed album last week with their comeback, but the album wasn't signed. It was just like a postcard
Postcard.
inside.
That's how they do
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah, I was like,
Sometimes.
what
They
is
just-
this? I love
they
like, the
just sign
signed
it
physical album.
really
It's like,
fast.
I have my Stray Kids ones framed in my room.
I
I like
believe
looked at
it.
my sister and I was like, I can't believe we sold the rest of them.
I don't have one Stray Kids sign, and I'm the biggest Stay. That's like my next one. I
Yeah.
don't collect that much, but a signed album, I'm gonna buy.
Yeah. No, but like, I guess being that I wouldn't say you haven't been a fan for a long time.
6
but-
years, so
But it's like, it's not short either. I feel like 6 years is a pretty good enough time.
I'm like in the middle. I
Yeah.
came in like third generation.
Yeah.
So then I did research for first and 2nd. I ended up, I love Big Bang. I love Girls' Generation. Even though I wasn't into girl groups, Girls' Generation to me were like
Different.
They,
they're like the epitome of what a girl group should be to me. I'm obsessed with those ladies. And I ended up writing an article about the history of K-pop for NBC. So I realized like how broad the genre really is. But I still feel like a newbie in a lot of ways.
And that's what I liked about K-pop. Like even like with talking about you doing your podcast about it, or even us just talking about it, it's more than the music. Like I've told all of our guests and I've told all of our followers that it's more than the music. It's the people behind it. It's where they come from. It's how they got there. It's kind of like how the company is raising them, or how their previous company raised them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I find a very...
You connect with them because you're, like, growing up with them.
Yeah.
I think with the social media aspect, you're seeing them post every day. Like, we know what Hyunjin's up to today, which maybe isn't good. It feels really, like, suffocating probably for the artist. But for the fans, you have that parasocial relationship where you really feel connected and protective of these groups. It's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Do you feel like, especially now, like you mentioned, because I guess in a way... connection with artists is being more accessible. Do you think that like kind of affects how fans kind of will see artists in the future?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's a good or bad thing. I think if you think about like, I'm thinking about Britney Spears because her book came out today. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was very different. We didn't have any insight to what was really going on. We didn't know who these people really were, because people can turn on a personality, and behind the scenes it's different. This is such like a 360. Like they can't shy away from it ever. So it connects the fans, but at what cost to the artist? Because there's really no line. And you see that when they're doing like Instagram lives. I used to watch V lives all the time. People are so demanding of the artist. Say hi to me. Speak in English. Blah blah blah. Why is this song not on the set list anymore? There's like a demand with the fans that I think kind of gets to an unhealthy level with all of this connected. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation because I'm still tuning into that V Live. I'm still watching. I'm part of this fandom that's feeding the machine.
Or I feel like with how much we're getting to know them more on a personal level, on the other end, it's like people realize that they're just exactly like you and me. They'll do things that you don't think that they'll do, and then people will be disappointed, but at the same time it's like, why would you be disappointed about that?
Well, I think there's like a lack of the rock star persona we have here. You hear that when Western artists collab, they can't believe how nice and humble they are. They do come off a lot more like us. And I love the reality shows. That's how I got into 17. I got into them later, but they're in the soup.
In the soup
is what sold me.
A lot of people actually became fans because of that.
Yeah, because they were so nice. That Hoshi is my bias. I fell for him.
They showed that they're just normal people.
That's it. But with all of these, it's like, okay, so BTS does their own laundry and they're making dinner for each other every night. Our stars would never. There's something there that does feel. They're in college while they're doing this. Like, I will say their work ethic has changed how I approach things. It sounds so nerdy, but whether I'm like doing the podcast and I'm tired, I'm working out, I'm like, Jungkook's not giving up right now.
Exactly. He's like practicing 7 a.m. to like this time, and he has like a performance after this.
Getting their master degree online. Like, no, it's just such a different deal. So I think that is a way that they've connected with audiences all over the world. They feel more relatable. They feel a little more down to earth.
I was gonna make a little joke. I was just like, "You mean Hoshi's not a person? He's a tiger."
Exactly. He's a tiger.
I really, I 100% believe that he's
that man wholeheartedly.
Like every picture.
No, that man wholeheartedly believes he's a tiger. So,
and I love that about him.
I've got to be honest. He's my bias.
Yeah.
And when I used to watch 17 and when I reviewed them, I loved a lot of the members. I'm like, oh, Vernon's so handsome.
But how can you not? There's like 13 of them.
There's a lot of handsome guys in that group.
People.
There's a lot of cool guys. But when I watched In the Soup, I was like, Hoshi. That's my bias. I adore him. 17's an interesting group.
Yeah.
And this is a great comeback. I'm excited for them. They put out consistently good music, and they're huge. I think they broke. Stray Kids broke a record, and then 17 broke it. I think in Korea.
The last time I checked, it was 5.12.
Like 5.4 or 5.
Yeah, like million just pre-orders so far. So and they have it. That's not counting the actual release sales. So
good for them.
Pretty good. But
yeah. I think that brings us to the end of our episode.
It goes so fast when we're talking about K-pop.
Yeah, and you know, in the future, I do want to invite you a little bit more because I do want to talk more about the Korean culture, and I feel like hearing it from other people's perspective, like even like your verses, it's a lot to hear. So,
and then hopefully by that time you'll have that that segment running for a long time already.
Yeah.
Because I know you did, and then tell us how it goes.
Yeah.
The nitty gritty, if it went well, if it went bad,
Yeah.
or if you're still doing it by then.
or even just stay tuned and watch.
Yeah.
your
We
podcast
will
about
see.
it.
Yeah, we will
Maybe
see.
we'll do like a crossover.
Maybe.
Oh, that'd
Maybe.
be fun.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
That'd
that'd
be
be
cool,
so much
but
fun.
yeah.
I'll come in with different K-pop groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all like
Yeah.
Or
representing.
what if you go on her segment and then
You guys can
you'll
have a
be
big fight.
staying, I'll be a carrot. But you know,
You could. No, the invitation's open. That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
it works. But
Well, thank you for spending your mornings, noons, nights, late nights, and honestly, any time zone that you're listening in to us today.
and please do follow us on our socials at Short Asian Girls Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, and also just any other form of social media to catch up with the latest news, story times, music, fashion, anything. And then also TRAKLIFE.music to catch up on TRAKLIFE's projects and also news about our podcast. And if you want to plug anything of your socials.
It's called K-Pop Weekly, K-Pop Weekly Pod. I'm pretty much everywhere. Feel free to follow me, Emily KM. That's 2 M's. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I
Thank
look
you
forward
for
to the
spending
next
your time
and
with us.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Y'all are killing it. Congratulations.
Well, you too as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And don't forget to use the hashtag.
Hashtag Shorties Moment.
That's hashtag SHORTIES moment to share your favorite moment from our podcast. Maybe share a little bit of your favorite things that we have talked about. Maybe K-pop.
Any
maybe
violent reactions?
anything before, after,
Yeah.
or anything in between.
So this is your Short Asian Girl, AJ.
And I'm your short Asian girl, Sam Michelle.
And this is our lovely guest, Emily. But yeah, thank you. And don't forget to live your life to the fullest because just like us, life is too short. See you in the next episode.